Hello, hello, hello. It must be Tuesday night, for we are back in the room. We're doing it all again, like we've never learnt any lessons in this life. We is here, and Andrew's already in. He's keen. He's a very keen boy. He's very keen, very keen. So yeah, there's 5 people in and 1 like. Come on, you can do better. You can do better than that. So, how is everyone? More importantly, what do you want to talk about? That's the important question, because we have to do this. We have to do this preamble while the room warms up a bit. Because even though we've been doing this for many, 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 many years, got to let the room warm up. Yeah, we're warming up. Oh, 3 likes. It's getting steamy in here. 3 likes already. 7 people in. Oh, they're coming thick and fast. Andrew says, very windy. It's windy out again. And Daniel's in. He says, hello. Indeed, hello. What we can do is we can do dog cam. Let me just see if I can tweak that. Let's change the exposure. Because I got an app for that. There's an app. Let's see, it's that one, right? Oh. Oh. Is that, oh, what have I done? Wait a minute. I made a boo-boo. I need to make the picture big again. All right, don't worry. You talk amongst yourselves. Ow, it's hot. And then go back. And then there's a... How do I do? Okay, come on. Won't let me do anything. Why won't it let me adjust the... In the old days, it used to let me... no, it's not working. Streaming. I did streaming and something happened. Payne's in. He says, good evening. Indeed, good evening. Good evening to everyone. So yeah, that was fun. Yeah. It didn't work. It didn't work. I thought I could change the. I thought I could change the thing. It didn't work. It didn't let me do it. Anyway. And Daniel says, how is everyone doing? This is myself. I'm living the dream with a diet of Floyd, Stone, Zepp, and Nirvana. You're going to starve to death, mate. You're going to starve to death. You got to eat. You can't just live on music. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Any more? For any more? I've got these little hearts just come up. What's that all about? What do hearts mean? That's new. Why am I getting hearts on the chat? What's that? What does it mean? I don't know. Jez is in. He says, the older we get, the longer it takes us to rouse. I did say rouse. Oh, now I've got a smiley. Is this a new feature of YouTube? Pains, and he says, man does not live by banned bread alone. Who remembers bread, eh? Who remembers bread? You used to see those, what's it? They used to be advertised in like catalogues, didn't they? America. That was a band as well. What happened to them? Andrew says, Darren, how important do you think Nirvana Cobain was? Well, as with every musician, not very important at all. No musician is important, for they are just merely song and dance men. See, the problem with music fans is they think that musicians are in some area of import, and they're not. People who are important are the doctors and the scientists that stop us dying. Those are the important people. You know, the people that do the important jobs. Musicians are merely there for entertainment. Now, if we reframe that question in a more sensible fashion, and you say how important were they to music at the turn of the 90s, I'd say they were very important. They were much needed. They were the colonic irrigation of the music industry that we needed. Again, we had for those I've spoken about, I feel like I'm repeating myself. For those of us that lived through the horrible, horrible tail end of the 80s, where everything became Stock Aitken and Waterman. I'm talking about the UK music scene, not everywhere else. I couldn't give a fuck what was going on anywhere else. We were being the charts were a diet of regurgitated electronic dance jiggers, and it was not very good. And then guitar music kind of came back, and Nirvana were the kind of the first wave of that, and they kind of made guitar music cool again. So they were very important in that respect, but in the grand scheme of things, not very important at all. And of course, seeing as Cobain decided to redecorate his house with the inside of his head, he is not very important. In fact, Dave Grohl's more important. There we go. Renee's in. He says hi. J.A. says the hearts and other stuff will be from your Facebook feed. I don't. This isn't streaming to Facebook. I don't think. I'm not streaming this to Facebook. Payne says, if this pain in my left arm isn't a pulled muscle, I won't be called a musician. Indeed. Gary says, oh, sorry, I've missed one. Sorry. Ingmar says, what do you think of the new Blur? There's a new Blur? Is there a new Blur? What, a new band called Blur? I don't understand. Do you mean the new album? Gee, I guess you could always go and watch the review, which I made a while ago now. This is what I love about YouTube. This is what I love. Nobody sees what I do. And this is why it's been quite interesting, putting videos on Facebook and seeing what floats there. Again, it's not as big as, I don't think you've got as much potential traffic. You have got potential traffic. It's just, I think it's harder to find videos on Facebook. But they say I'm what do they call me? They call me something. No, shut up. Shut up. Let me have me moment. Shush. You shush. Shush. They call me a must be only on the iPad. Oh, where's the they had like an up and coming creator or something. It gave me that tag on the iPad. Honest gov, which made me feel kind of special after all these years. But no, I've just been posting some more video stuff and the coffee time videos over there, and they've taken on a little life of their own, which is nice, because trying to slog away over here is a fool's errand, isn't it? For example, where was it? The one I did last week. Fraudster jailed for how long? That one had 550 views. It's barely had 100 views over here. So, yeah. So, like I said, the views are inconsistent, but every so often a video kind of does something. So, that's cool. That's cool. That'll do. Oh, where am I? Gary says, in the world of food-based bands, cream will always rise to the top. Good job there wasn't a band called Shit. There probably is, because Shit floats too. Daniel says, back in my teenage years when Nirvana made it, they were very influential to me, as were the Foo Fighters later. Again, they were a band of the time, and I think they were important. It was kind of a herald to all that guitar band stuff that we saw in the 90s. And it's funny because I think at the time, Blur, talking of Blur were doing their thing. So there's a real smell of damp I keep getting a whiff of. I think it's one of these guitar cases. I mean, I've had these guitar cases, not all of them, obviously. I've got a few guitar cases in it, but one of them started to smell. Maybe there's something dead in it. I don't think so. I'm getting a whiff of damp. Most annoying. Sorry, I got distracted by a whiff of damp. But yeah, back in the early 90s, again, Blur were doing their thing, but they weren't cool. And then Nirvana came along, and they were cool. And so we got the whole grunge movement, happen over here. And yeah, I think it was an important thing. But by emptying your mind using a shotgun puts you on the naughty step in my book. A naughty step. Naughty. So, yeah. Or did Courtney Love do it? That's the question, isn't it? Gray says, apologies, I thought you'd gone into pan-social broadcast. No, I did that before. I was doing that. I was using like a redo. It was a thing that sprayed it everywhere. But I stopped using it, and I don't know why. Maybe I should do it again. Maybe I should spray it onto Facebook as well. But I tend to. God, the lights feel really bright tonight. Oh, might turn them down. I'm feeling a bit light sensitive. I think it's because it's been so murky here today. I can just adjust maybe the temperature, make it warm. Oh look, now I'm on stand on the surface of the sun. No, we don't do it. That's too. I want to get it a good. There we go. Let's just adjust the brightness up. But then if I go too dark, then it gets a bit late night radio. Hi, you tuned in to Wanker FM, and I need to find a happy. I don't know. That might do it. I just feel a bit dazzled. Oh, I need sunglasses. Payne says to Gary Turner, but nobody really likes blancmange. Angel Delight. I was never a fan of blancmange. The food. Rene says, have you heard the new Blur yet? Just kidding. Why I order. And Rene, oh no, we've done that. Payne says, we never get Focus and Blur on the same bill. No, because it makes your eyes go bandy. Daniel says, who's excited about a new Stones album? No, I'm not a Stones fan. I mean, I like the greatest hits and all that, but trying to get through one of their albums is a task beyond me, But I don't mind the hits, as it were. But I've never again, they're one of those bands I've never understood why. I think it's because they did have a really good back catalogue to fall back on. So when they do a show, they can just wheel out the hits, and just do a few new songs, tuck a few new songs in, and just do the hits. But no, I've never really understood the appeal of the Stones. But there you go. Stones says, Gary Turner, what about Wild Cherry? It's thick and fast tonight. Bjorn says, it's sad to see the world remembers Dave Grohl instead of Cobain. No, it isn't. That's the right way. That's the right way. Right? Jess says, the grunge scene died in your guitar case. It smells like it. I think Kurt Cobain might be haunting my guitar. Well, it won't be one of my guitar cases because I'll flog it, won't I? Well, it depends which one it is. If it's that one, I don't know. I'm worried what it is. I just keep getting a whiff of it. It's odd. It's odd. But I'm going to have I think it's a cheap weekend on eBay this week. I've got a couple of eBay stories for those of you who use eBay. And I might cut this and post it on the channel as a separate video. But yeah, I think there's a cheap eBay weekend that's coming up, so I'm going to try and push and sell a few more guitars. Though we're at the expensive end of the Harwood collection, the boutique end, and it's a bit harder to flog those ones because these are the ones I'm really having trouble selling. And I don't really want to, undersell them, but I'm getting desperate now because I just want it to be over. I'm just done. I'm just exhausted with it all. And there's so many changing guitar strings that a man can do. So Yeah, I mean, crikey, somebody offered me £1,000. I mean, I know it sounds like a lot of money for a guitar last night, and I said no, because this guitar's worth, well, double that. But I can't see. I guess this is it. It's eBay. I should probably put them all on Reverb. Those people seem to appreciate fine guitars, but it takes months, years to flog the stuff. But yeah, eBay story. I want to tell you a story. That's a Max Bygraves reference there for those of you who come from 1950s. So I use eBay regularly, and that's it. I use eBay regularly. What was the story? And sometimes I cancel bids. I cancel auctions. If somebody's got a 0 rating, I'll cancel the bid. And sometimes people make me offers, and I'll cancel the auction and say, look, wait until there's a cheap eBay weekend, and then I'll accept. I'll do it then, and because then I get more money and they get the price that they want. So I tend to, cancel auctions and play a bit with the system, as it were. So anyway, on Friday there was a guitar that I had up for sale, but I didn't have it to hand, and somebody was interested in it, and they made a bid, and I said, look, I want to check it first because I haven't actually checked this guitar. It's in storage, but once I've checked it, you can have it, right? And next Friday, come back next Friday, I'll have checked it out. Because again, I was doing a deal with them. This guitar was a higher price, but they wanted it for a lower price, so I was trying to do a deal. So I cancelled the auction, like you do, because you can do that. There's an error in the listing, cancel. And then later that night, I get an email from eBay saying, you've been charged final value fee on. So I was thinking, wait a minute, I haven't sold it. So I was like, oh God, this isn't good. So then on Saturday, I go onto eBay and go through their laborious chat system, and the guy said, yeah, this is what we're doing now, basically. If you've had bids on something and you cancel the auction, you will be charged for it. And I like, wait a minute, that's not fair. But that's the system. But because you didn't know, thinking, I've been using it for like 23 years. And this is the first time this has ever happened. So it must be a change in policy, or it's just, something that's going on. So, we're going to refund you, good faith and all that. I went, yeah, sure, fine, great. So I wasn't too happy because it was over about 120 quid, I think they were going to charge me. And I wasn't too pleased. I wasn't too pleased about it. So, the refund will take so long, So, okay. Now, meanwhile, I was selling a computer as well. And I had someone jerk me around, a non-payer, which is unusual with computers because usually people just, they bid and pay and that's it. But this person didn't answer my queries, because if anyone who's dealt with me on eBay know, I say, this is going to be dispatched. If you pay now, I'll dispatch it tomorrow, do all the seller thing. And this person didn't respond. So I said to the missus, we've got a note, this one's no good, but you have to leave it like 4 days before eBay now cancels it automatically and, cancels the sale and gives them supposedly a strike. I don't know how true that is. I've not tested it. So anyway, it automatically relisted. And I didn't want it to do that because a cheap eBay weekend coming up on Friday. But in the interim period, because I was dealing with eBay and their chat, a 0 rating person bid on the computer. Now, I don't sell to anyone with a 0 rating, especially if the account's only just been opened, because so I cancelled their bid and cancelled the auction. And lo and behold, that evening, the same thing happened. You've been charged. I'm like, but I can't, what? I cancelled it. And I didn't want you to, because it automatically relisted. I didn't want it relisted. Yeah. And so again, Sunday, I did exactly the same thing. And I think eBay's gone a little bit weird. Either that or, well, I don't know. Maybe this is the way it's supposed to be now. But like I said, I've cancelled stuff and I've had people ask me cancel stuff and whatnot. And now they're suddenly charging you for things that haven't sold just because you've ended the auction early. And now, again, I get people that, you know, that bid things up with 0 ratings. I cancel and I take the listing down, and I wait for the heat to go, and I do it again, because you get weird people. I block them. You get weird people on eBay like you do on YouTube and any realm of social media. But now you're going to have to be very careful how you deal with eBay auctions. You're basically going to have to just let them run. Let them run. You know, so there's no... again, if there's a problem, and again, I've spotted stuff with guitars, you know, where I've gone over it and gone, oh, that needs to be dealt with. Battery compartment, you know, is futzed. I need to deal with that, and pulled things. You know, because the way things are at the moment, I've got guitars in storage, I've got them listed, but I don't, you know. It was one of those moments. So yeah, that's my story about eBay and the weird way that they're now throwing charges at you when you haven't actually sold anything. And I thought, you know, again, if you were somebody who hasn't actually got, because I do it directly via your bank account, if you've got no money in your bank account, you're going to end up going in the red. And what really peed me off is this person, you know, who bid on my computer but then didn't pay for it. Why didn't they just take the money straight out of their account and give it to me? If they're going to play like that with the seller, why don't they do the same to the buyer? And then we'll have no people messing us around anymore. So they seem to be getting heavy on the sellers. So they need to do the same with the buyers. And that's me whinging about eBay. I'm sorry. So there we go. I shall go back to the chats now. Sty said, Courtney Love didn't kill Kurt, but the 90% shared him murdered. Oh dear, that's not good. Payne says, I listened to Rolling Stones once, but got no satisfaction. Indeed. G-Man's in says, even Darren, I watched Knock at the Cabin movie tonight. It was okay, really. You've seen it. That's a Shamalama Ding Dong one, isn't it? Nah, I don't fancy it, to be honest. I've seen the trailers and I've read a couple of reviews of it, and it's like, I try and avoid Shamalama Ding Dong as much as I can, because, you know, he's always not satisfied as a filmmaker. He had his moment, but what you want is the Cabin in the Woods. Watch that one. That's good. That's a good deconstruction of horror with Chris Hemsworth in it before he was Thor. Bjorn says, take the 1,000 and run. Oh, I don't know, man. I think Ingmar is having a stroke. Poor Ingmar. What are we going to do with them? Maybe I should put them out of their misery. What do you reckon? Let's see. Are you all right, Ingmar? Are you okay? Anyway, we've got 22 people in there. God, do you remember the days when we used to get nearly 60 people in? Do you remember those days? They're probably all soccer accounts, weren't they? And we've only got 6 likes. Now I need you to really hit me on the likes there, please. Hit me with the likes. Hit me with the likes. But what we need to really talk about is, anyone in the chat been raped by Russell Brand? That's what we need to talk about. Because I'm sure he must have touched at least one of you guys out there, because he's very prolific, isn't he? Very prolific. But yeah, do go and watch the video where he sets out to wank a guy off in the toilet. It's very funny. And then they parodied it in Nathan Barley not that long afterwards. Poor old Russ. What will ever become of the multi-millionaire? Kind of sad, isn't it, really? Of course, it's all gone quiet. It's all gone quiet over there. It's all gone quiet over there. Right, shall we talk about Steve Wilson now then? I saw the most amazing thing It was amazing. Yeah. What was it, Darren? I saw an interview with Stephen Wilson, right? It was amazing. It really was. I'm trying to find the link so you can go and watch it. It was amazing. I bet I can't find it now. See all. Where did I see it? It was. Here it is. And the reason I clicked on it, right, is it was called. I've got to get the full title. It was called "The Most Underrated Musical Genius Reveals Why He's Never Sold Out." And I thought, I'll have some of that. I'll have some of that. I thought, yeah, that's the video for me, and you must go and watch it. I think Ingmar's having a stroke. I'm just going to put them out their misery. See you, Ingmar. Bye. Because I keep retracting their messages, and that's a bit weird, and it doesn't really work. But anyway, go and watch this. Do it now, actually, because it's better than the shit I'm talking about. So yeah, it's had 52,000 views. So there you go. It must be good, and it's 2 hours long. Though I don't think I actually watched all 2 hours of it. I may have fallen asleep during it, and it's amazing. It's real Spinal Tap shit, right? And for the opening half an hour is Stephen Wilson trying to redefine what the word genius means, you know, because that's quite good. He doesn't quite understand what the word genius is and how it can be applied. And then he says, my friend Robert Fripp says genius is more of like a spirit, and it visited the band that recorded that first album. Again, the reason he says that is so it can undermine the contributions of Ian MacDonald, Greg Lake, and Pete Sinfield. They didn't write it. It was just a spirit of genius what visited what done it. And yeah, it's quite hilarious. But one of the best parts of the interview was when he was asked about regrets. Do you have any regrets? He says, yes. Yes, he says, kicking off his flip-flops and rubbing his jammy toes together. I regret not being born 20 years earlier because I think more people would have heard my music. And I wet myself. I laughed my fucking head off. And I felt like saying, Stevie boy, hold it, Stevie boy, hold it. If you'd have been born 20 years earlier, you're born in 67? You've been born in 1947, right? That's before most of Genesis, right? Pink Floyd. You know what I'm saying with this? And if you'd have been born then and grown up in that time, and who would you have copied? Whose music would you have copied when it come to your career? You'd have been, what would you have done? Would you have been an Elvis clone? I don't know. Would you have been like another Cliff Richard? Because your entire career, son, has been made on copying other people. You know, and I wept. I cried with laughter. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard. And also, if you'd have been born 20 years earlier, you'd have never made it in the music game, because comparing you to, I don't know, the bands that were out, that's what the Beatles and even the Stones and, you know, Genesis and Floyd and, you know, you name them, they all shit on you from a great height. You would never been able to compete. You'd have been one of those lesser known bands like, I don't know, Quatermass or whatever, you know. You'd have been in one of those bands whose single album would have been reissued on Cherry Red with a surround sound DVD disc, which they still can't flog, you know, like 8 years later after it was released. You know, so oh God, I laughed so hard. I think I might strain something, but yeah, I think Stephen Wilson was just put on this earth just to annoy me. You know. I think I might start calling my eye infection Stephen Wilson, because that irritates me as well. There you go. So yeah, Zeb says, I watched it, Darren. It was so repetitive and boring. Wasn't it just? Now, isn't he an empty-headed idiot? He's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I can't help it. This is what happens when stupid people are allowed to flourish. Thankfully, he's not having any children. Thank God for that. The DNA ends with him. You know, it isn't good. He doesn't serve music. He really doesn't. The spirit of music isn't in him. You know, he might as well. If he had a band, it'd be called Xerox. Again, that joke's going to go over a lot of people's heads, but yeah. He said the interviewer wouldn't let In Absentia go. Make it In Absentia too. And Stephen Wilson managed to slag off Tubular Bells, etc., etc. Again, I don't think I managed to watch all of it. I think I may have nodded. But it was, yeah. Andrew says he would probably copied the Beatles. Yeah. Renee says 2 hours looking at Stephen Wilson. Boring. And Zeb said he comes off as a true jerk. Well, again, read his book. Read his book. He doesn't come across too well in that. You know, in terms of like the biographies, I mean, even his book makes Steve Howe look a bit, you know, unassuming. I mean, I know, you know, Steve Howe's got ideas above his station, but rightly so, because, you know, he's been involved with some of the top-selling albums, whatnot. But boy, he's got big ideas, you know. Go and watch Porcupine Tree from the early 90s. Seriously, it's on YouTube. It is truly dire. It's like a student band, right? It's just he is. I want to say what he is. The name of the manager of one of my old companies I used to work at, of prog. I have to say that, because if I say his name, you'll probably hear. I don't know if he'll hear it. But he is that guy, because he's the guy that stood around long enough and ended up finding himself leading the company. You know, you've all had it. There's the guy in the company who's completely incompetent, but they managed to stay there long enough to be the CEO, because everyone's left and they go, "Do you want the job?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll have the job." That's Stephen Wilson. That is, you know. And if you're stupid enough to buy into this stuff, seriously, you really need a bucket of water thrown over you. You need to sober up. Sorry, it irritates me so much. Jez says Wilson could have gone for a Mal Vera Lynn slant. Indeed. The White Cliffs of Dover, indeed. Push him over, the White Cliffs of Dover. But yeah, you should go and watch it, because it is hilarious. It is truly Spinal Tap, you know. But this is where I'm going wrong. I need to be a bit more like Rob Moore, who I'm surprised he just didn't climb under the desk and frig him off. I really am. You know, and this is, but you guys watch this shit. And was he got 250,000 subscribers? You know, was it, how many views was it? 50-odd thousand views, and yeah, and they love this shit. Oh God, oh dear. I'm just bitter and twisted. No, it's the Emperor's New Clothes. This is my issue with it all. I just find it completely lacking substance and whatnot. But anyway, that was my Stephen Wilson rant. Damn, run out of material. I was scared at least 3 viewers away. So yeah, anyone got anything to talk about? Zeb says he did a book. I'm not buying it. Proud Odor of Zero, Porcupine Tree, Stephen Wilson. Okay, I have some of his Jethro Tull Yes remixes. Even those aren't that great. He just lays them out flat, Zeb. He just lays them out flat. Even he says it. Well, yeah, he had a book. I did a review of it. It's called Limited Edition of One. Ay, 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 ay. I did do a review of it. Look it up. It's I know, because I don't know who's the bigger idiot, him or me, because I'm the one that buys this shit, reads it, because I'm looking for the genius, right? Because everyone tells me he's a genius, especially his fans. Oh, he's a genius. So I'm trying to find the genius of Stephen Wilson, right? This is my one-man quest, because I just don't get it the same way as I don't get ELO. I just don't get Stephen Wilson and Porcupine Tree. I mean, I understood it, you know, with the In Absentia album, because it appealed to the ladies, right? It's a very girly album, right? It's a very girly album, but aspects to it again, I don't like his. And again, there's a sneery misogyny that runs through his lyrics, and I don't really. It's like Fish. I don't really like it. Yeah. And so I'm since because I remember they went on about it in Absentia at the time. Oh, it's brilliant. So I was doing this this forum back in the day, and everyone's raving. So I duly bought in and bought that one, and what's the other one? Darkwing Duck, wasn't it? It was called that was a good one. Not, and ever since then. Oh, and I went back before that. Before that, I was back in the before in Absentia, the magazines were saying it, and so I'd got into some of those ones. And again, I Pink Floyd. I'm going Pink Floyd wannabe. And for years, I've been trying to find the genius, and nope. I just find it irritating. But there you go. But if you enjoy it, good on you. Good on you. As Eb says, Steve Wilson, Zero Soul, indeed. Renee says Steve Wilson's last song from his forthcoming album is terrible. I've not listened to that yet. Andrew says his genius is that he knows how to make money. Is he making money? I don't know. Is he making money? I guess he must be, because he continues, doesn't he? But again, you've got to remember he started out in doing like library music for adverts and stuff like that. So I think he's got a lot of that on the go. I think he's probably got a nice little library music back catalogue to fall back on, because that can be quite lucrative. Him and Jack Shit are both in that game, so yeah. Just says opinions on modern solid state guitar amps rivaling valves. I've never used an amp, so you're asking the wrong person. And Zeb says, doesn't he kind of make 3 songs over and over again, just with the rock instruments, more modern sounding instruments? Since he does this thing that goes bah, bah, bah. That happens in every song. Bah, bah, bah. Bah, bah, bah. Bah, bah, bah. Bah, bah. Oh dear. But yes, Rene says, I remember the day that Steve Wilson was against the iPod. Oh yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? Do you remember when he was shooting iPods? Because that was edgy. That was his Fear of a Blank Planet period. Again, couldn't even come up with an original title, so he thought he'd parody Fear of a Black Planet. And he was moaning that, the kids, like Grandpa Wilson, the kids, they're into technology and computer games. You should watch that interview. Again, he kind of echoes some of the things that I say about streaming and music and whatnot. But he's so inelegant, and he cannot string a coherent thought together. It's really kind of because he uses cut and paste a lot with his music. He just cuts and pastes bits in, and that's what irritates me, because I've seen his studio craft. He did a few interviews about how he done this new record, and it is just bits glued together. And I'm guilty of doing that a little bit, but I try and make my stuff as live as I can. I keep mistakes in, because it makes it sound like I'm actually playing, because I am. Whereas he uses a lot of studio manipulation to achieve the sound, that he wants, and then he hires people that can actually play it to tour with him. So, Anyway, irritating. Payne says the local pie shop makes money, but that doesn't make them cooking geniuses. Don't rate their pies, eh? You don't rate their pies. I remember there was in the village we lived in, up in Norfolk. There was a big thing. There was a big thing going on. They accused the butcher's shop of poisoning the pies that were for sale in the fish and chip shop. And the poor butcher, again, we used to go there and get some good, lovely, lovely produce in there, delivered the best turkey I've ever eaten. Best turkey I've ever eaten. And the poor sod had to put a note in his window saying, look, if you got food poisoning from the fish and chip shop, it was nothing to do with my pies, because because I don't even supply pies to the fish and chip shop. Oh, that's village life for you. That's village life for you. Pink says, how am I doing? Hope things are good. Yeah, they're all right. I've got an eye infection. It won't go away. And the missus keeps telling me I've got to go to the doctors. And I'm just waiting, basically, to turn into the Elephant Man instead. Instead, I cover it with makeup so you can't see it. But yeah, I had a really bad one. I got a bit of a sty with this one because when I was out the other night, last week, there was a big gust of wind and I felt a bit of grit or something go in my eye. I went in my glasses and into my eye and I went, oh man, I'm going to get an eye infection now. And lo and behold, about 2 or 3 days later, I was like, oh, and that was painful. Oh, and then that kind of triggered this one off. It was weird. It's kind of, it won't go. So things are all right. I mean, okay, kids are back at school. Herb seems to be getting on really well. So that's good, considering that, we had to go and see people in the school holiday about him because the school reported him to people because they don't understand how autism works, and I'm very angry with them about it. But hey, what can you do? But no, he seems to be getting on. V's doing okay. Crikey, they're giving her A-level options already. They're basically, because she's doing so well, she can just do whatever she wants. She doesn't have to go to any extra classes because they're putting on extra classes for so they can, what's the word, revise, for the GCSEs. She doesn't have to go to any of those because she's too damn good. So now everything's kind of ticking along, really. But yeah, just ticking along. Just doing what I do. Moan about Stephen Wilson. Oh, it's good with the world. Oh, it's good. Wow, down to 15 viewers. Fuck, I'm dying on my arse here. Do you think it's about time we retired the Tuesday Night Music Club? Because obviously, it's not working. Nobody likes it anymore. I think YouTube's trying to tell me something, and it's not good. Whatever it is, it ain't good. Maybe I should just quit and just carry on Facebook. Ugh, could be a thing, couldn't it? Do. Right. Pink says, I see. Well, good to hear then. Yeah, good to hear. How are you doing, Tom? You don't stop by very much these days. How's things hanging with you? Are you okay? Seb says, my old prog band just got registered at Prog Archives. Ha 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 ha. We quit over 6 years ago. Here's what they say in the bio. What did they write it about you? God blimey. I dread to think if they ever wrote anything about me. It'd probably be scathing. Melancholic, psychedelic, folk found common ground with crossover-friendly alternative rock tinged with the echoes of Stephen Wilson, No Man, David Sylvian, further incorporating brooding, dark ambience, surrealist studio tickery, 1960s garage, post-rock and shadowy loops, twisting songs out of traditional shapes into elongated, tripped-out meditations. Are you all right? Are you all right, Zeb? Look, I know things might seem bleak. I mean, after reading that, you probably want to, I don't know, open a vein or something, but to be compared to Stephen Wilson and No Man, and even David Sylvian, I mean, crikey, nobody really wants to be compared to David Sylvian, because, Pink says, I'm okay. I've been busy with work and college, but as you say, ticking along. Excellent. I do try and catch Live Tuesdays, but I've been missing the mark. That's okay. Because some people, they just drift away, and that's fine. Some people drop dead. That's not so fine. I think a lot of my viewers have died. Or just got sick of me. It's one or the other, isn't it? But I'm glad that everything's going well. Keep working at college. Don't worry about this shit. You got your real life to worry about, and that's more important than this nonsense. So yeah. Oh, to be back at college again. Oh, that'd be good. Just don't fuck up your life. Don't do what I did. Just don't do it. Do everything right. So he says, ha ha ha, Darren, I can't take it. I can't. Well, again, you know. Pink says, some are too old and drop dead. Indeed, they are. That's how I ended up with this bloody guitar collection. Oh, Alan, why did you do it to me? But at least you get mentioned regularly around the locked dinner table. We give thanks to Alan Harwood. It's almost religious. It's almost religious now. Can you believe that? Pig says, like most Yes fans. Yeah. God. There are still Yes fans walking among us. It must be like The Walking Dead, mustn't it? Going to a Yes gig these days. Jess says, well, actually, I don't know Stephen Wilson at all. Well, ain't you the lucky one? Ain't you the lucky one? If only I could go back in time and avoid him. But yeah, I'm seriously in two minds about reviewing that new record when it comes out on streaming. Because I'm just going to get it in the neck from the fans again. Maybe I'll do it as a private video and I'll give you all the link and you can all have a laugh. Pink says scary stuff. It is. It's all scary stuff. Life is meant to be scary. Otherwise you're doing it wrong. Do, 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 do. Any more for any more? Just says, any recommendations? No. No, I don't recommend anything. Don't listen to music. Not really, because I'm not a tastemaker. You know, you shouldn't listen to me. Go and listen to, I don't know, Stephen Wilson and Porcupine Tree. That's what all the cool kids would be saying. On the dog walk tonight, I listened to the first half and a bit of, first half and a bit more of Equinox by Jean-Michel Jarre. And the previous night I listened to a delightful playlist created by YouTube Music for The Who, which I skipped quite a few of them because they played an awful lot of Who's Next in it. And I'd listened to that the other day because of the box set. And I thought, I don't want to listen to any more Who's Next. So, though I do mean to review the Vivian Stanshall Dog Howling tune. I've been listening to it. I've listened to it quite a few times now. I bought it on the day of release and I still haven't got around to reviewing it because I don't know. I find doing music reviews hard. I don't know why. It's because I think nobody likes them. I think that's it. I'd rather do guitar reviews because I think again it's all the whole YouTube thing. I mean, I can see that interview with Steve Wilson getting all those views and nobody wants to see my words of wisdom. I can't believe it. But no, again, I feel like I'm pissing in the wind with YouTube, and that's the problem with it, isn't it? It doesn't encourage me, and it encourages me. It says you should make more videos. Your stats are down. You should make more. And I go, yeah. What's the point? You don't show them to anyone. So it's a kind of it's like catch-22, kind of, oh no, I'm doing the bit where I whinge about YouTube. Oh, I don't want to do that bit. Can we skip this bit? I skipped it. But yeah, but I've got to do that. Pink says, I've been going over the first Hogarth Million records, but yeah, don't torture yourselves. I quite like them, though, from a time, because they were infinitely better than anything Fish was doing. Because they had a new vocalist and it was a new dynamic, and it's good because, yeah, I thought that was a really good. I think they should have actually changed their name, but the brand was important for them. Right? Andrew says, I've been listening to all David Gilmour, disappointing. Well, I've listened to that album before, and I did I think I did a review of it, but I don't know if it survived the cull, as it were. And it's yeah, it's a bit dancey, it's a bit ambient, it's a bit of Gilmore in there. It's all right, but you got to be I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a great fan of the Orb. You know, that kind of electronica from the was it late 80s, early 90s. I can give or take it. You know, it's a lot of that stuff just doesn't really interest me. Zip says, have you watched the movie El Conde? Quite good. No, never heard of it. Let's see what they say out there. El Conde. El Conde. El Conde. Horror comedy. And where can I watch El Conde then? Oh, it's on Netflix. Oh, crikey. It's a Chilean black comedy horror film. Blimey. And will I have to read subtitles? It could be fun, I suppose. Is it on Netflix now then, is it? Well, I'll have to try and hunt it down. Though I have started watching the latest season of Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and they've got even crazier, which is good. I like that. J.A. Gray says, I found you about 3 months ago because I was Googling Mike Oldfield reviews, having watched loads of your vids since and really enjoyed them. So one new follower here who appreciates what you do. Good. I know, but it's really hard. It's really hard to get a following, or at least for me it is. I found, oh God, I found my old Social Blade from my previous channel. Oh, that was sobering. Before it crashed, before I nuked it, I was getting, oh God, how much? Something like 3,500 views a day. Wowzers. Yeah, and those were the good days. And and now I'm lucky if I get. I'll tell you. I should have kept the old channel. I should have kept it going, but there was a strong chance of it being completely nuked by those bastards. Where is it? What's the current stats? About I'd say it's about 800, anywhere between 500 and 800 views a day. So yeah, those were the days. I'll never get that back. Remember, nearly 11 million views, nearly 20,000 subs, and I nuked it. No regrets. No regrets. It's all right. But it allowed me to split into two. Not literally. It'd be good if I could. But it allowed me to have my music channel, which is over there, which has all my music stuff on, and this shit. I didn't want them to be together, so it allowed me to do that, which is something I wanted to do anyway, but it would have been difficult to separate the two because it was kind of intertwined at that point. So it was good. Hans says, how important are Nirvana, Cobain? Depends on how much you like them. No, Hans, no, you don't understand. There's this thing called influence, cultural influence. And some would say that Nirvana and Kurt Cobain had great cultural influence at the time and inspired many kids to pick up guitars and play and, again, kick off a revival of guitar-based music. Before that, it was mainly, synthesizer / dance music that was inhabiting the British charts. One could say that. So, yeah, one could say that. Jess says, that's it, I've got to research Wilson now. I feel like I'm missing out. Even if he's crap, he'll be unintentionally funny within its shitness. It is funny. It is funny. It's hilarious. Well, and if you enjoy it, then go and watch one of my reviews, because you'll just see a man who just doesn't get it. I feel like Grandpa Simpson going, I don't understand, but everyone loves it. Pink says, I was witness to a live chat recently where Stephen Wilson was basically called the prog rock god of our era. What can you do? Well, again, the genius of Stephen Wilson. This is the thing. This is what I'm having trouble understanding. I like, do what? What? Really? Okay. Zeb says, Jez Davis, the only song I can remember is Trains by Porcupine Tree. Probably a good introduction. Yeah, well, yeah, that's start. In Absentia is the one that, like I said, it's the one that you play to your girlfriend. It's really soft and fluffy and a bit girly, and it's got the loud, quiet thing going on. And it's all a bit funny, it's got, look at me, I'm very clever. There's a lot of that with Stephen Wilson. Again, it's somebody who thinks he's a lot cleverer than he actually is. But he'll say he isn't. But there's a lot of that going on. Rene says, Equinox Infinity? Nope. The original. I don't have any time for the remakes. Not that good. Pink says, I got flack for his Return to Oldham review. He's used to it by now. Exactly. I get flack for all my reviews. I had, what's his name? Armando Gallo, who photographs Genesis. He made his entire career out of photographing Genesis. Well done, Armando. And I reviewed his app. This was years ago. I don't know if the review still exists. It might do. And I said, well, it's all right, but the books are where it's at, because papery. And I wasn't impressed. I'm not impressed with these apps. They're like the CD-ROM, of their day. I mean, there was a big thing probably about a decade ago now where everything was an app. Everything's an app. And it felt very much like the CD-ROM era all over again. And I kind of said so in my review. I come to it honestly, and it's like, I think it was about a tenner, this app. And I'm saying, well, I remember buying the books in Smiths and, WH Smiths, and really enjoying them. And this wasn't really the same. It's all right. I was a bit umming and ahhing about it. And then, a bit like Fish, I got a private message from him via Facebook, having a go at me. I didn't bother. I just went, no, I'm not reading that. Not reading it. Same as Nad Sylvan called me a cunt on my birthday, which was nice. It was nice. I took it as it was intended, a well-meaning insult, So I as a birthday present. There you go, from Nad Sylvan. And then, of course, the legendary Fish incident where he told me I was banned from his live events, which is, again, very presumptuous on his part, that I would actually even part money to see him sing, or what he calls singing. Because you would never get me in the same room with him. Unless it was, I don't know, to piss on his corpse, perhaps. That's a joke. Because I don't like his voice, because he killed his voice, so it's not good, is it? It's not good. But he got very upset with my review. So, and then Mike Oldfield banned me from his private Facebook group because they gave the album 3 stars out of 5 on the Daily Express. And I said, wait a minute, that's not a bad review, because I'd read the review. That's not a bad review. I think you're getting a bit sensitive. Let's all calm down. I said, I was trying to be the voice of reason. I got banned for that. And I was never allowed back in again. And that was before I'd actually heard the album. And then I heard the album and fuck it. 3 stars, that's generous. Oh, yeah. Shane said, I saw Nick Mason on Saturday night. Great show. Nick's a funny bloke. He is. He's the funny one. He's like Ringo. He's like Ringo in the Floyd. He's the funny one. They had a few jokes at Roger Waters' expense. Good. Did you take your Ukraine flag with you? Pink said, on the Source of False Secrets band, very good. I've listened to the live album and I've seen the live thing that they do. So yeah, it's good. I wouldn't pay to see it because Yeah. But they're a good tribute band. And I never had, the guy from Spandau Ballet, in a Pink Floyd tribute band. I didn't have it on the card. I didn't. And there's another band I don't understand, Spandau Ballet. Never. I was always a Durrani and Wham fan myself. There you go. Pink says, I can't have an honest opinion on the internet these days. Well, I don't think you can have an opinion, whether it's honest or not. I don't think you can even have a dishonest opinion on the internet. The internet has ruined everything. And here I am, continuing to generate discontent. The internet's ruined everything. It's stopped people from being able to think. It's stopped people from being reasonable. It's turned everyone into reactionary idiots. And, and it's this real... Everything's a conspiracy now, and that's really sad. Because, we're pattern-seeking animals. We want to find patterns in everything. And sometimes bad things happen. Sometimes things just happen. And then there is no reason behind them. Imagine, though, if every conspiracy theory was true. So many minds would be blown. But what would the point of it be? G-Man says, I know nothing of Steven Wilson. Another man with great sense. I watched a tiny bit of that interview you posted. When asked if he was a genius, you could tell he was lapping it up and dying to get more of the same. He's a funny fella. Pink says, that's the follow you and follow me of Porcupine Tree. He's talking to trains. And says, okay, but someone asked about the importance of Nirvana. Since the sequences before Nirvana and other retro rock groups. Okay, I don't know. Yeah, sure, I agree with you, Hans. I agree. I don't fancy arguing. Gray says, I completely agreed with the Return to Omedu review. I totally mirrored my opinion of it. Well, that is correct then. Then we're on the same page. And eventually, everyone will come to my way of thinking. Look, I mean, this is the problem. When you're honest and you hear things for what they are, it's a very disappointing world. I want Mike Oldfield to do an amazing record. Like when I heard Guitars, I think that's a great record. I really like that. I love that record. But some of his other ones are a little bit meandering. Tubular Bells 3, not very good. Millennium Bell, I fell for that one. Hook, line and sinker. And it's the same with Wilson. I don't want to shit on everyone's music. I don't want to do that. It's not very nice. Kicked over CDs. Oh no. I don't want to be that guy, but I have to be that guy because otherwise there's no review. And unfortunately, the algorithm likes it when I take shits on Steven Wilson. So that's what the algorithm's got me. And who am I to deny the algorithm? Who am I? Who am I to deny the algorithm? I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. But I want Steven Wilson to completely confound me and surprise me. I want him to make a record that makes me go, this is it. Now, his first solo record, I didn't mind. It was okay-ish, but it's not a work of sublime genius. And then he's got progressively worse. That's the only progressive thing about Wilson is he gets progressively worse. And I want him to make a record that's going to surprise me. Same with Oldfield, same with anyone. Same with Brian Eno. I mean, crikey, he's been treading water lately. And it would be nice for a record to come along that really makes me go, oh, now Blur did it. Blur did it with the Ballad of Darren. Okay, it helped that they actually named it after me. And I think they knew that. They thought, well, we're going to have to do something to get Darren back in again. So we're going to name the record after him. And that way, he's got to like it. But that record, fuck me, that really resonated to me. It just came to hit the pressure points. And it makes me feel very melancholic. It makes me cry. There's a realness to it. And this is where there isn't a realness to Wilson. That Blur album is Damon Albarn, breaking up, breaking down, you know? And I understand that. When you get to a certain age, and he's a little bit older than me, I think. Or is he a little bit younger? I can't remember. Might be a little bit older. I don't know. We're contemporaries, right? We're the same generation. You know, you begin to, you know, feel the same things, don't you? Because it's a generational thing. And it'll happen to you if you're young. You'll hit 50, and it's not necessarily a midlife crisis. It's just you think, crikey, I'm well over halfway there. And again, for men, between 50 and 60 is Sniper's Alley. I might not make it to 60, you know, and then you start to think, you start to take check of things, and, you know, and that's the problem, isn't it? You know, everything starts to creep up on you, and you just think, where am I going? What am I doing? This wasn't the life I intended. It certainly wasn't. Not for me. I thought I was going to do many different things. But then, you know, life plays you various hands, and you respond the best way you can, and you end up here. And, you know, I can't help feeling a little bit disappointed in myself. Darren, you didn't do very well, did you? You didn't do very well. But I'm a better person, I feel, internally, you know, thanks to the kids and thanks to Herb and everything. You know, it broadened me out and made me, you know, I could have been a successful person who was horrible, or I could be a really nice failure. And I can live with being a really nice failure. That suits me fine. You know, right? Because I wasn't very nice when I was working, because I had to be, you know, a bit tough just to cope with just the travelling in and that. So I was a bit hard, yeah. And now I'm not. Now I'm soft and pink. Yeah, I'm soft and pink and squishy. And that's what happens when you get to a certain age. You kind of take stock on things, and you just think, God, you know, what is going on, you know? And it worries me. It worries me a lot, especially with the old health things, because, you know, the diabetes it's really knocked me out. You know, it exhausts me. And when they tell you about this, you read up on it, and it's like, it's nothing. Take the pills, change your diet, do the exercise, you'll be fine. But they don't tell you how exhausted you feel, and how that just mentally, you know, you just don't tell you. But then there's the, like I say, the eye infections and the aches and pains, and, you know, I don't tell you about that. And you just think, there's another part you think, well, maybe it's a good thing I won't reach 60, because if I'm in pain now, what's it going to be like when I'm 62? You know? So you start feeling pretty fatalist about everything, you know? So, yeah. So that's why that record really resonates with me, because there's a certain fragility in it, and there's a certain longing, you know, and a certain melancholy in it that hits me. And that was good, because I hadn't enjoyed their stuff since the Blur album, since 97. I think it was 97. Yeah, I think it was 97 that one was out. And the subsequent albums, they just didn't hit. But that one really hit me. So that's what I want. I want the next album to really get me, you know. The Breeders did it with their All Nerve album. It's like, oh wow, they're back. And the previous ones, because it wasn't quite the Breeders, didn't really catch me. You know, you get it sometimes. You get that sometimes. Tom Pink says, you mean you wouldn't go to a Fish gig even if you played the Barbican, for example? How dare you, don't? He wouldn't be able to fill the Barbican. He might be able to fill out the pub round the corner from the Barbican. But no, I wouldn't go. Zeb says he knows you know, Darren. His paranoia is way up there, I guess. What got me was he came to my review because there was a thread on his personal page, because I found it, because I thought, how's he found this? And they were slagging him off, saying how he was an old drunk and how he used to go into bands' green rooms and drink all their beer, and he was basically a thief and a ligger. A ligger is somebody who just goes and drinks all the booze in the green room. And And he didn't have a go at any of them. He found my review and took exception with me. It's like, fine. I don't care. You seem to think that I'm somebody. And he had a go at my guitar collection. It wasn't as big back then. He called me a failed musician. I'm not a failed musician. I never intended to be a musician. How dare you, sir? How dare you? I'm a failed writer. God damn it! Please get. Well, I'm not even a failed writer because I had stuff. But I mean, I used to write for a living. I'm not a failure. I'm not a failed shopkeeper. That's better. Yeah, that's probably the only failure. Failed shopkeeper because I gave up. I should have probably carried on, but I was suffering from PTSD. There you go. Just says a veritable list of achievements. Genuinely impressed. Thank you. I should get a badge or an award or something. Pink says Pink Floyd posted anniversary of Nick's live album a couple of days ago. I haven't checked it out yet. It's good. It's good if you like the old stuff, and it's fizzy. There's an energy to it, you know, and it's a different take on Pink Floyd. I don't mind it. I mean, again, it's not something I'd go and see, but when I did see them, I think they played it on Sky. I watched the pictures and the music, the concert, you know, that, and also listened to it when the album was out. This time, I think I may have reviewed it, and I thought it was all right. Yeah, it's okay, but again, I'm not necessarily going to go and see them. Pink says, and Gilmore's Rattle That Lock, which is 2, is meh. All of Gilmore's stuff's a bit meh. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. That is the weirdest hiccup I've ever had. Renee says, well, late over again, I'm going in. Thanks for chat, night. Well, glad you can make it. It's 1:10 wherever you are. And says, Zeb says, Return to Ommadawn to me was a million times better than Man on the Rocks. That one is god awful. But you can forgive him for that because he was trying to do something different. You know, he likes doing rock songs, and Luke Spiller of the Struts was a good vocalist. Yeah, they're not to your taste, but you know, I think they were half decent rock songs. But yeah, I wouldn't listen to them again. But you know, that was him doing his rock and roll thing. He's done it before with guest vocalists. I think the problem is, you know, in the old days he used to have a multitude of guest vocalists in to help him, and he just settled on the one guy, and yeah. So it's like, you know, apples and oranges there, but it's not going to be for everyone the same way as Earth Moving. That's the one. Isn't for everyone. But yeah. So Hans says Stones releasing a new album in October. Yes, they are. Are you going to buy it? Are you lining up for that one? Pink says you've dissed more than a couple of albums bands I enjoy, and that's fine. We can have opinions. Some people need to grow a skin, honestly. Well, people have a go at me and go, what about your favourite album? I go, you probably don't have the mental capacity to enjoy Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan's Night Song album. But no, we all need to look. Can't we all just be friends? Can't we just be friendly about it, please? Grace says Man on the Rocks was unlistenable wreck. Return to Ommadawn was more disappointing because it was aiming for the territory of the early records, but it just doesn't have any fire. Yeah, well, there was a lot of repetition of themes and bits of Hergest Ridge in there, and then sampling the drums and the vocals. Oh God, that was just a crime. Why didn't he get his sister or someone to put some new vocals over it? You know. Again, what you saw on Return to Ommadawn is what Stephen Wilson does all the time, and it's called studio craft. It's where you create music out of unreal performances, you know, and it don't sit well with me. Again, I'm somebody who, you know, I do my little thing, and you know, I actually play these bloody things. Okay, I have a drum loopy thing going off, but if I had enough room, you can bet bottom dollar I'd be playing the drums. I've had tracks. I had a little electronic drum kit back in the day where I actually had a room, and I played drums on a couple of things. You know, weren't very good, but you know, I've always wanted my own drum room, so I could actually get better at the drums, because I like hitting things. I like hitting things, but I don't have the space, and we have neighbours. But one day, when I live in a shack in the middle of nowhere, I'm going to have a drum kit. God damn it. Andrew says, I like you being nice, Darren. Oh, isn't that lovely? You didn't know Nasty Darren. Nasty Darren was a long time ago. I killed him a long time ago. So there you go. But drinking don't help either. And struggling with your health, and drinking to medicate your nerves, and you don't understand why you feel the way you do. It's just a stupid strategy. It was just a stupid thing to do. But I was in my mid-20s, so I had a bit of growing up to do. So there you go. Jez says, I'm 52, was getting the melancholy 20 years ago, but I'm cool with it. What, 32? Crikey, no, I was getting that then at 32 because I'd been made redundant, and I had major depression for about, crikey, was it 6 months? 6 months. And it was proper, I didn't know it was depression. I couldn't even tie my own shoelaces kind of stuff. And that's why I got Alex, because I needed something to focus on. And I got Alex and started moving around again. And it's good. It's good to have a dog. In fact, she came back down. There she is. Ah, there's the monster. There she is. Ah. Grace says, melancholy records are my favourite records. If a record makes me cry, then it's done a job of moving me. Well, again, I don't really feel things, because I'm not human. But it's very rare for a record to do that. There's only a couple. There's Father, Son by Peter Gabriel, because I think it's because I'm ping. What ping then? I think it's because it illustrates the relationship of father and son, and I never had that. And that's why it makes me desperately upset, because it just makes me think about a relationship I could never fix, even though I tried. And so it always gets me. And that's why it's really important to, have the relationship with my own son, because I know it affected me, So that song always gets me. But there's very few songs. I'm trying to think of other songs that might tip me over the edge, as it were. Can't think of any off the cuff at the moment. No, there are more songs that make me want to punch the air, as it were. Yeah, rock and roll. And it says, Blur, no comment. As my grandma said, if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything. Well, that's because you're not listening to the right music. You probably like the Rolling Stones. Jesus Christ. Sign says, life never turns out one wants to. You're either pleasantly surprised or crushingly disappointed. I am crushingly surprised. Or pleasant. No, I'm pleasantly disappointed. Russell's in. He says, hi Darren, listen to the Eno Apollo album again. You can't beat it. I bet you can. If you use a big stick, I reckon you could probably beat it with a big stick if you really wanted to. And he says, I have a dissociative disorder, anxiety, depression, and no puss. Oh, how crude. Didn't plan it that way. Well, you can buy it, If you're that desperate, you can buy it. How incredibly crude. Sign says, it could be worse. We could all be Russell Brand. Stephen Wilson, indeed. Pink says, gotta go make dinner, indeed. Zeb says, did you ever check out Tubular Beats? Yeah, I did. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? I wasn't impressed. And Pink says, see ya. Take care. Have a good week. Same to you. And says, Stones forever. Exactly. Nobody really likes the Rolling Stones. He says he likes the Beatles too. Alex says, the special edition of Man on the Rocks was even better. It came with instrumental version. Yes, that's right. Again, if you didn't like the vocals, you had the instrumentals. which was interesting. But again, if you listen to it, it's not. Oh, it's not terrible. It's just that Oldfield isn't the greatest songwriter as it is. You know, he got lucky with what's that? Moonlight Shadow. He got lucky with that one. You know, but yeah, he's not a very good songwriter. Jess says, those of us who actually play will come to our own in a decade when AI kills real expression. AI is the biggest danger to everything. Everything. In fact, I may just get the AI to write that Stephen Wilson review for me and see what it comes up with. But no, AI is a real threat to humanity. It's going to be fine. If you think things are bad now, in terms of art and music and everything and film, it's going to get a whole lot worse. It's going to get a whole lot worse. Remember, we are living in a post-cultural society. Culture is no longer important. You know, it doesn't have the meaning of what it used to do. Things ain't what they used to be, as they used to say. And if you think it's bad now, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. Oh well. But we'll all be dead. And says, I like the pretty things and Jerry and the Pacemakers. And jazz. Oh no, he likes the jazz as well. Skilly bop bee bop boop bop biddy bop beep bop skilly bop boo. Boo bop skilly bop beep bop skilly bop boo. You got a scat here, you got a scat there, skilly bop skis cat cacky day. Skilly bop, skilly beep, skilly bop. Little bit of scat for you. A little bit of scat, a little bit of jazz for you there. Grace says, agreed, Moonlight Shadow was a wonderful one-off. He's a great composer, or was, but that doesn't mean you can write songs. Yeah. And Science says, Moonlight Shadow has a fantastic guitar solo. Indeed, it's really good, and if you watch him play it, it's just bonkers. It's bonkers, it is. But there you go. But it was a one-off. And if you go and listen to Tubular Bells 3 and was it Man in the Rain, it's a direct lift of Moonlight Shadow. It's comical. It's so bad. It's just like, no, Mike, you're doing it again. You can't do it again. Stop doing it again. But yeah. Seb says, Man in the Rain was a terrible remake of Moonlight Shadow. Yeah, I recently read it was first recorded during Discovery. And Russell says, the bridge in Queen's Teo Toriato, emotionally powerful. Doesn't that make me cry? Not far off. Yeah. 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 Indeed. God, it feels like have we done enough? I don't know. I feel a bit thirsty. I need a drink. Get a bit. I'm going to do an advert. I'm going to do an advert. Hey, I've got lots of CDs to sell because I stupidly spent loads of money on CDs, and then there was the import duty. Oh God, why did I do it? And I need some people to reach into their pockets and help me out. He said, oh, I've scared the dog off. Even the dog don't like my CDs. So I've got this big box of CDs that need to be sold. Do you see? And I need your help. They're not going to sell themselves. So I need your help. I need you to buy them. And they're all rather reasonably priced, considering how much it cost me for... Whoops. Just dropped down the floor. And yeah, considering how much it cost me to have made. So I need help. It's hold it. Let me just do this because I've got to do the HTTP. Because if I do it wrong, then you'll get the wrong URL, and that will be wrong. And it's merch. If you go here, you buy CDs. Please help me. Uh, where are we? Lost it. Spendalo says, good evening. I'm late. I'll be watching in tomorrow. Okay. Thanks for letting us know. And Gray says it's bedtime indeed. It feels like that. Moon Shadow? Moon Shadow, wasn't that Cat Stevens? No, it's Moonlight Shadow. Jesus. And Andrew says, I'm off. Everyone's gone. Because I was doing the... Oh, Zeb, you beat me to it, man. You beat me to it. Sign of the Gun says the B-side of Moonlight Shadow was a song called Rights of Man. It was horrible. It was ghastly. In all but name it was. And says, yes, Tio Toriato, great song. And Zeb says, Steady State of Flux has been spun quite a lot, Darren. Fantastic song. Thank you. That was improvised. That was an improvisation, I believe. So yeah, that was the good old days when I had the room to improvise. I really ought to just sell some guitars and go back to doing that again, shouldn't I, really? So yeah, I think, mind you, if you wait around long enough, Seb, I'll be doing a miniature version of that, like the little digifile version of Steady State of Flux. And you can buy that. That would be good. But yeah. Just says, I'll definitely get Breakdown, but in around a month, I think there'll be copies to sell. No one's buying them. Literally, no one's bought any of them. I only had a few made. There's, let's see how many copies are left. There are a whopping 4 copies left. 4 copies. 4 copies. Look, there you go. Look, this is what you get. This is what you get for your money, right? This is what you get. Look, it opens out. Look at that. Look at that. Look. And you can see, look, where is it? Whoops. Start off there looking young, and then as you move across, I end up that old bastard at the end. And you can weep over the 30 years. And there you go, that's what you get for your money. And it smells good too. It smells good, and there's all the CD artwork there that it's taken from, and there's a it folds in. So it's good, isn't it? Look. I did all that. I did that. I did it. So yeah, there'll be plenty of copies left. There you go. Oh, but I made it. I really shouldn't have ordered so many. I'm going to fall off my chair in a minute. Oh, god damn. So yeah. I knew it was a gamble. It's harder to sell CDs these days anyway, so, you know, no one's really buying. The Europeans don't buy my CDs anymore. I think they're scared of the EU. I think the EU have sent out a directive saying, don't buy any CDs from Darren. You won't get paid any duty because I'll mark it as a gift, right? This is it. I'll mark it as a gift and I'll say value £5 and you won't pay any import duty because that's the kind of guy I am. That's what I do to the Americans. That's what I do to the Canadians. That's what I do to Australians. And that's it. But, you know, I don't think people don't like me anymore because of my outlandish views. Where are we? Zeb says, cool. And says, Las Palabras de amor, let me hear the words of love forevermore, evermore, evermore. Zeb says, just curious, Dan, what's your top 3 sold albums? I don't keep records, but the most ones I've sold ever is this one, and there's only 1 copy of this left. The big box version, I sold loads of these. So it'd be this, physical copies, it would be this, then Americana, and possibly Textures, I think. It might be that, but definitely this and Americana. Because I think I may have sold, oh God, I can't remember. It was a lot. It was a lot. But yeah, I think those are the top 3. Russell says, My Melancholy Blues. Yeah. I used to like that one. It's off of Jazz, wasn't it? And it's if you don't know that one, it's a kind of a blues thing. It's a good one. I used to I've sung it on the live stream. Yeah, I could do it for you. Do you want me to do it a cappella? Another party's over, and I'm left cold sober. My baby's left me for somebody new. I don't want to talk about it, want to forget about it, wanna be intoxicated by that special brew. So come and get me, let me get in that sinking feeling that says my heart is on an all-time low. Whoa. So don't expect me to behave perfectly and wear that sunny smile. My guess is I'm in for a cloudy and overcast. So don't try and stop me, 'cause I'm heading for that stormy weather soon. I'm causing a mild sensation with this new occupation. I'm permanently glued with this extraordinary mood. So now move over, let me take over with my melancholy blues. I think we'll end it there. And that's the end of this week's live stream. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you can't be good, be safe. But more importantly, don't tell your mother. Night night.